Can James Gunn's DCU deliver a worthy Wonder Woman? Lessons from past adaptations reveal the challenges of bringing Diana Prince to life. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman was one of the most iconic and powerful heroes in the DCU. She played a demigoddess and Amazonian warrior princess who hailed from the island of Themyscira. Leaving behind her secluded paradise, she confronted evil and became a founding member of the Justice League. Wonder Woman has always been a tricky character to adapt, and over the years, we've seen Gal Gadot don the iconic armor in Batman vs. Superman and her solo films. Now that a new era of DC has begun, with James Gunn at the helm, will he learn from his predecessors? Gadot's run as Diana Prince seems to be over, and Gunn is ready to recast, but will that be enough? Joss Whedon's words seem like a warning to upcoming adaptations of the character. So, as Gunn leads DC's future, he can't afford to ignore the lessons of the past. So far, only Jenkins has succeeded in framing the character as a period piece with superhero action, World War I history, and her origin story. So now James Gunn must decide if he wants to keep Wonder Woman in the realm of grand and cinematic spectacle or take the humble approach instead. So, in an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Joss Whedon wasn't exaggerating when he called Wonder Woman a difficult character to adapt. Long before Patty Jenkins' 2017 hit, there were other attempts to bring her to the screen, which failed spectacularly, and Whedon summarized it well when he said, "It is hard. She's a tough nut to crack. I know she's famous as a television show, but I don't think she lends herself to television. I think she only works on an epic scale. I saw a bit of the David E. Kelley NBC pilot. That was not a good marriage." The challenge of portraying Wonder Woman on screen lies in balancing her mythic roots with modern storytelling. Her lore isn't just about fighting villains, as it's steeped in gods, ancient warriors, and political allegory. Gunn's track record, especially with movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, suggests that he can handle multiple characters at once, but Wonder Woman isn't a space rogue. She's a warrior and a demigoddess, a legend that demands an epic scale. So, Gunn should take Whedon's advice, and the next Diana of Themyscira could be unforgettable. His version of Superman is quite different than what we've seen in Zack Snyder's films so far, so it would be interesting to see how he features the superheroine. If he reduces her to just another piece in a larger universe, it would risk repeating past mistakes. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman was one of the most iconic and powerful heroes in the DCU. She played a demigoddess and Amazonian warrior princess who hailed from the island of Themyscira. Leaving behind her secluded paradise, she confronted evil and became a founding member of the Justice League. The old versus new Superman debate that pits David Corenswet and Henry Cavill against each other will certainly overstay its welcome, and with every new bit of information, it's only going to get intense. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The recent topic of debate is the DC character's bond with the sun, which has always been central to his narrative. The contrast between how Zack Snyder's and James Gunn's versions of the superheroes heal themselves speaks volumes. The latter has gone for a complete shift in his interpretation, so let's look at how these two differ. David Corenswet's Superman heals with high-tech sunlight, while Henry Cavill's uses raw power. Here's how their approaches define each version. We see the Fortress of Solitude emerge, the superhero's headquarters, away from civilization. Krypto tugs on his cape and brings him inside, where a squad of cape-clad advanced robots is ready to receive and treat him. The latest sneak peek of David Corenswet's Superman features a starkly different vision from what we've previously seen. James Gunn opens the scene with our injured hero, who's crashed and landed on the ice, possibly after a battle. He whistles for Krypto the Superdog, who rushes for his aid and begins to drag him. In Man of Steel, we saw Henry Cavill's Kal-El facing overwhelming odds without a safety net. At the moment, he had no access to the Fortress of Solitude and no superpowered allies. His most defining scene came during the World Engine battle, when he was overpowered and brutalized by the terraforming machine's gravity beam. They use concentrated sunlight to heal Superman, and these rays seem to be simulated by Kryptonian technology that bathes him in restorative solar energy. It's evident that Gunn is embracing the whimsical and inventive side of the superhero lore, focusing on world building and not just the character. The way they healed in their respective universes tells us everything about the intention and the story being told. Where Cavill is more like a mythic figure and lone warrior, Cornsweet's iteration suggests that he is part of a world where his heroism is supported by friendship, advanced science, and a superpowered dog. So, Gunn's Superman isn't just a reboot but a tonal reinvention. He seemed broken and alone until a ray of sunlight pierced through the storm clouds. This scene plays out like his rebirth, where he absorbs the solar energy and recharges his cells in real time. Within seconds, he's back to his feet, stronger than ever, ready to obliterate his enemies. So, Zack Snyder's version of Superman was fundamentally alien, and he was struggling to harness his power in a world that already feared him. On the other hand, Gunn's approach suggests that the DC superhero is part of something bigger as he offers a more optimistic and interconnected take on the character. Ben Shapiro is never happy with anything. At least some of his hardcore followers have begun to feel the same about the conservative commentator. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. The latest in the long list of things he hates is James Gunn's yet-to-be-released Superman movie. He watched the recently released preview and expressed his disappointment as a lifelong fan of the Superman brand. Shapiro shared that he wasn't the biggest fan of Gunn and added that he hated the ridiculous humor in Guardians of the Galaxy. Shapiro's mere reaction to the blockbuster trilogy is itself a telling sign that he isn't exactly going to fall in love with the David Corenswet starer. Ben Shapiro bashes James Gunn's Superman just like he did with Barbie, and fans expect the new DC film to easily hit the billion-dollar club. A watch-along of the new Superman preview with Ben Shapiro was tough. Fans were not surprised to see the title of his latest video, which read that James Gunn's movie looks terrible. Shapiro began with his review of the new preview. It sucks. It's bad. I hate to break it to you. It's just terrible. Shapiro shared that the film sucks and aired a few grievances that some DC fans couldn't actually make sense of. But hey, we cannot blame him entirely after he stated that he is already in a bad mood due to the current state of the American economy. He shared that they had one of the most nonsensical exchanges in any James Gunn movie. He further shared that the gold standard for Superman movies is the original Superman movie from Richard Donner. He also shared that Cavill's Man of Steel also got the right idea about the character. However, he still had complaints about the color grading of the film. He went on to claim himself as a lifelong fan of the Superman brand, sharing that it wasn't hard to get Superman right as he was the embodiment of everything cool and heroic about America. Shapiro's unpopular opinion came after the preview received immense love from fans and increased the hype for the movie. Even Henry Cavill fans, who initially hated the fact that Gunn was directing a movie with David Corenswet, couldn't help but get fascinated by the visuals. For starters, Shapiro was frustrated with the lovable Krypto's actions. He shared, "Krypto proceeds to beat the living hell out of Superman. He's screaming in pain as Krypto jumps on him and continues to nudge him and bite him. I don't see the purpose of this. This is not dramatic. It's just silly and ridiculous." After lashing out at everyone's favorite superdog, Shapiro had a rare appreciation comment for Gunn. He shared that the Fortress of Solitude scene in the preview looked pretty cool. However, he then went on to brutally bash the preview for the scenes involving the Kryptonian automatons. Dog lovers also disputed Shapiro's comments on Krypto's actions in the preview. They shared that Gunn depicted the scene very realistically. There were comments suggesting that Shapiro stick to politics. Others mocked him, sharing that his trashing of the film would give it some hype. Some of the fan reactions on YouTube read, "Jesus Christ. Ben is never happy with anything. Dude, it's a James Gunn movie. There has never been a bad James Gunn superhero movie. He's turning the